there's not a chance that Anthony Joshua is not going to just lose the weight beforehand. He's not going to come in drained. What he's going to do is just do extra cardio, and that's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry that Jake Paul wants to fight him. Very upset that this YouTuber who's fought Tommy Fury, who's a legit boxer, and a couple other guys that were legit boxers. That's it. Like everyone else he's fought Ben Askren, who was really a wrestler. He fought Tyron Woodley, who was an elite MMA fighter, but not an elite boxer. He fought Nate Robinson, who was a basketball player. At least he's fought these guys. He fought Anderson Silva, and he dropped Anderson Silva. And Anderson Silva was a really good striker, but also in his 40s, different time.
If he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury's going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer.
Joe Rogan just voiced his concerns about the upcoming showdown between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. At the same time, Frank Martin pointed out that Jake Paul isn't just a YouTuber anymore because of his sharp growth. Still, stepping in against a lifelong professional like Anthony Joshua is an entirely different challenge.
I consider Jake now, I wouldn't consider him like a YouTube fighter no more. I feel like he put in the time, he gotten better throughout like all his fights, like he done got better throughout all those fights, But it's still like when you fighting like fighters who actually like done it for like their life, their whole life, it's a little different. If that fight happened, it'll be a good money fight. It'll be a good money fight. But that's a tough task for, Jake going to get that big ass heavyweight AJ. I know AJ personally, so that's a tough task, and that motherfucker punk.
Beyond that, Ben Whitaker gave Jake Paul credit for taking on tougher opponents, highlighting his run-ins with ex-UFC fighters, former title holders, and even his bold call-out of Gervonta Davis.
Fair play to Jake Paul, man. He's even his UFC fights, he's been fighting the fighters. They're ex-champions, so that's a decent category. He went to Gervonta Davis, active fighter, world champion, good fighter. Then he's gone to this big, massive AJ. Fair play to him. I think what he's doing is crazy, but it's good for the sport. And hopefully there's some rule where they don't get hit too hard, because if it's anything like that Ngannou one, it could be dangerous.
Yet, Joe Rogan emphasized that Jake Paul is about to face one of the most terrifying punchers in the sport. The Ngannou fight showed exactly how dangerous Joshua is against anyone who isn't operating on his level.
You're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division. Maybe we should watch the Francis Ngannou fight so you could see. Let's watch that real quick, just so you can see what Anthony Joshua is capable if he's fighting someone that's not in his league. Okay, look, Usyk beat him, and he beat him twice, and Andy Ruiz caught him in the first fight and dropped him and stopped him. It was spectacular. Andy Ruiz is super fucking talented. Usyk is perhaps the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time. Maybe one of the greatest of all time in any weight class. Usyk. And Usyk beat him, and he beat him twice. The fact that Jake Paul wants to fight that guy, hey, I'll watch. I'm gonna watch. I'm definitely gonna watch. So you got me there. And if you want to show you're legit by taking on one of the scariest fucking heavyweights.
On top of that, Adipo jokingly said that when the ref calls them to center ring, Joshua will immediately step back, suggesting the fight could end on the spot because of the massive skill difference.
Predictions for the fight?
AJ will start the fight. The referee will say, come to the center of the ring. AJ will walk back. He will go over and knock out Jake Paul in about 45 seconds.
UFC legend Michael Bisping said that even if Anthony Joshua beats Jake Paul, critics will still downplay it by saying he only defeated Jake Paul. The same Jake Paul who lost to Tommy Fury.
If he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury's going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career. The reality is, he's not going to lose. There is no way on this earth that Jake Paul can beat Anthony Joshua in a boxing match. That's just a fact, okay? Look at what he did to Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou hits as hard as a Ford Escort, going 100 miles an hour or whatever that stat was. He was the UFC heavyweight champion of the world, goes up against Anthony Joshua and gets flatlined. So to stand there and think that Jake Paul, who's much, much smaller, who has way less experience, that doesn't weigh anything near him, is going to have a chance. Talking about an Olympic gold medal.
Jose Benavidez argued that people shouldn't discount Jake Paul because this matchup carries real danger for him and could even deliver a surprising outcome.
Don't count him out. I think that's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, we could have a big upset, But I think that AJ is too much for Jake Paul at this point, and he's bigger than Jake Paul, in my opinion.
Do you think it's competitive? A lot of people are saying if AJ doesn't get him out of there in 2 rounds, it'll be a huge embarrassment.
I don't think that's not the case, that he's gonna get Jake Paul. At the end of the day, Jake Paul has been training hard too, and he's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he would take him out in 2-3 rounds. I think maybe in the later rounds, or it might go to decision, but I don't think that Jake Paul can take AJ out. Or AJ could take Jake Paul. Maybe, but I don't know. It's just going to be an exciting fight. I think I want to see that fight, to be honest.
David Haye gave Jake Paul respect for walking into a situation filled with serious risk because boxing is unforgiving and can lead to severe damage or even death.
He believes in himself enough to do it on a massive scale, because it's not about the money. He's got enough money. This is him wanting to push the boundaries of reality. He's manifested an amazing life for himself. He's a superstar, and I think he wants to try and do the unthinkable. He wants to. It's an insane challenge he's put himself up for, but you got to give him credit.
Dana White said that Jake Paul fighting Anthony Joshua is a rough matchup, but would still draw massive viewership and attention.
Jake Paul, Joshua. Oh, Jesus. That's a f***ing bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. Then I think everybody's going to get what they finally been waiting for.
Tommy Fury stated that since he already beat Jake Paul, it should be obvious what Anthony Joshua would end up doing to him.
If I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on, like you can't be serious. He can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So it's just ludicrous.
Tony Bellew said he won't believe any of this hype until Jake Paul is actually standing inside the ring ready to fight.
I don't believe it. I don't believe a single thing until I see him in the ring. I don't believe any. Even if they come together for a press, I don't believe it. I don't genuinely believe he will climb into a boxing ring with 10-ounce gloves on with Anthony Joshua. It won't happen. It can't.
Hypothetically, if it does, how long does it last?
As long as Josh wants it to. Simple as that. As long as he wants it to. The same way it did with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. The same way it did with Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou.
Frank Warren said Jake Paul gets criticized for having no amateur foundation and only a handful of fights. Everyone kept asking when he'd face a real boxer. Now he is.
Books on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years for a guy who's had no amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 fights? I'm not sure what he's had. And, you look at the opposition he's had and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a 2-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you've got to take your hat off to him for that. As regarding AJ, I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that, that unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois. That was quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? this is a car crash, and people will watch it because that's what people do at car crashes. That's what this is.
So what do you think about this? Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.